Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chromebooks for Creativity. I'm your moderator. I'm Danielle, and I'm very excited to introduce to you Nick Cusimano, who is a Google certified teacher and an authorized Google education trainer. He is the creator of TheaterCast, and you can find TheaterCast at theatercast.org. I'm his partner in crime there. And he's going to be giving you a 30-minute buffet of everything googly and great. So we're excited to have you here. And you can post your comments and questions in the section right under our session here to do that. And I will make sure he gets those. Otherwise, I'll try to remain quiet. Nick, take it away.
Apologize for that. So let me go over with you. So there's a lot of things you can do with Chromebooks. We're going to cover video, audio, and visual. And we're going to start with Picmonkey first. And what Picmonkey allows you to do is edit photos and label and do a whole bunch of different things with your students. And some project ideas is we're going to try to make myself look like a historical figure. So I've uploaded a photo of myself since I have the rights to that photo. One of my favorite areas is the effects. So if I want to make it look like an old-fashioned out in the West, I can go with sepia. If you notice over on the left-hand side, there are things that are have the crowns. Those are extra features that you have to pay extra for, but they give you so much that you will be doing well. This kind of reminds me of 1920s, and I kind of look like a little bit like Al Capone with that. Andy Warhol look. So you have all these variety of different filters to use. They have their touch-up, so you can always fix a blemish or remove red eye. I can give myself a beard digitally instead of virtually. What I also really like is under their text features, you have all of these different built-in fonts, and you can upload your own fonts too. What works really well with students is the overlays. So if I go over here to the left-hand side, I can find, if I wanted to add a graphic bloom, Mother's Day is coming up, I could put that right on there. If I want to use this for labeling, I can look at tape, pull the tape over and then point right next to another part of the section. Under here, under labels, we have labels, so there's plenty of different tools in there. But I want to get to the really fun stuff. So maybe with your students, you are studying Mexico, and you want to talk about November 1st, Dios de Muerto. You can have students take pictures of themselves and then use that to make their own Day of the Dead versions of themselves. Lots of great things that are built in there. Another great one that I really like, and I think your students will like, is you can make yourself a superhero. So, and I think that this one's kind of really interesting because you can have students take pictures of themselves uh, doing 3 different pictures, upload them to your Google Drive, and then start editing them and have them create their own comic book and really give it that comic book feel, including speech balloons. So we could post a speech balloon and they can show us the elements of plot, a variety of different things. So that's under themes, under Picmonkey. So there's lots and lots of tools that are included in there, and you can have so much fun playing around with it. Labeling, creating, having them pretend they're a character from a book, and putting those attributes, and then I have to look closely at the book to find what does it say about Huck Finn, let's say, for example. How does it describe Huck Finn? What's his hair color? What uh, physical attributes does that tell us? So there's a whole variety of things that you can use with this that can go back and forth. So that's Picmonkey. The next thing I wanted to show you on the visual end is Canva. And I really like Canva, and I like working with it in conjunction with Picmonkey. So I may take my pictures and um, and edit them in Picmonkey, and once I'm ready to put them into a more formal presentation, what I love about Canva, it takes the hard work out of it for me. So I have the logo that I created for today. I uploaded the background picture, and then I used one of these things right over here and adapted it to make it work for what I needed. So here's an interesting one. So I could take a quote, and since I am a theater and film teacher, we'll change this not all wonder is lost to be or not to be. So it's already given me this nice formatting. I don't have to think about the font. Um, it already works, and I can adjust it. I'm going to adjust it just a little bit more. And then I can take one of my built-in photos I've already uploaded. So the coloring is a little weird. All I have to do is go in here and I can change that. And now I have a great formatted social media icon that I can send out, that all I had to do is a little bit of plug and play and readjust. Now, over here on our left, there are so many other things that are really cool. So I have the icons, or infographics are really big in education. So I can use this to create all of my infographics and pull this in, readjust it so it works visually, and then I can use that to describe. I can change the colors that I want in there. So I want it to represent bright green. All of these things are available over here on our right-hand side. I use this a lot for posters for my shows. Let's say you're doing open house. You could have your students come in and adjust those things. Also, if you look under layouts, we're going to go over here to the left-hand side, and we're going to create a new presentation. So we're going to look at more, and I'm going to look at all the different things that we have available to us. So all the different social media posts, you can have them create their own marketing materials for a project they're working on in class. Vlogging, events, ads, all of these cool features that are able to be used in your classroom. So we're going to look at this real estate flyer. And so as that loads up, we can exchange out different things that are available to us. So I like the visual layout of these pictures, so I'm going to select that one. You can see how it's watermarked. Canva allows you to use their photographs, and it costs you $1 per project. And you can change that up to 24 hours after that. If you wanted to make a tweak, then you'd have to pay $1 again. But $1 is definitely affordable. But most of the time, I either use Creative Commons photos that have been marked free to reuse and for commercial purposes. So if I have those photos, I use those in there. but you can just go in and I can go to my uploads, or I can do a search over here and look for Shakespeare. And I can add that picture of Shakespeare in there. I can also has filters built in. So if it's something I didn't do before I got it in here, I can definitely take it to give Shakespeare a little bit of a selfie look. You have all of those great things built in there. And I also like the grid. So formatting wise, I have a whole picture and I want to put all my students in a picture and share with parents what's going on in the classroom. I can choose a grid picture and then put my own content in there. So that is Canva. Great tools to use. One other thing I did want to mention on the visual end is if you have students who work really well with Photoshop, um,
Nick,
what
can I ask
sure,
a question real quick? We've got some questions from the
sure.
folks, and there's a little bit of lag between the broadcast and you, so I apologize for popping in the middle here. But we did have some questions about Picmonkey and Canva,
Yes.
um, and some good ones too. Somebody asked sort of an overall question about these apps and add-ons, wondering how much instructional time you devote to teaching your students how to use this in any of these add-ons, I would think, and websites. And they also asked about Monkey in general, if it's an add-on or a website, and if you find that it's prone at all to locking up.
I do not find it locking up in Chromebooks. Uh, it is a Picmonkey is a little bit of both. It is a website that you can just go to at picmonkey.com and not have to create an account. If you want to make it connected to your Google Drive, then you just connect it that way. But it's pretty. You're doing it on the web. That's the magic of Chromebooks. Um, Instructional time. I have high schoolers, so I would say if I'm working with younger, especially elementary, I may do more step by step with them. But the high schoolers, once you take them to that themes area, they just go to town. And I think the same would be with your middle schoolers too, because they've been playing with their parents' phones. They know what filters are. It's just getting them to think about it uh, towards your project. So what is our end goal and what allows us to do that? But I would maybe spend 15 minutes the first day of the project, and the rest would be one-on-one with students or checking in with them. Did I answer those questions?
I think those are perfect answers, and I would say hear, hear to everything you said.
Um, but I think they're both really great tools to use that are out there. If you have those students that are really advanced, like beyond my range, because what I really like about Picmonkey is I can just tell it to do it visually. But if you have those students who really work really well with layers and masks and all that Photoshop type stuff, there's one out there, and it's in my show notes over just on the right, and it's the Pixlr, pixlr.com/editor, and that gives you that super duper powered photograph editing um, that will allow you to do that stuff that multi-layered stuff in Photoshop, and it's free. My district's 18,000 students, so if I price anything by student, it knocks me out because you times that number by 18,000, my district's just not going to go for it. So I'm always looking for free, or at least freemium where I can use that stuff uh, in a big chunk and can make it do what I need it to do. Next thing that I wanted to talk about is audio editing, and I think this is a powerful thing because of these things right here. Either students have these, I know a lot of my students have them, and just using the voice recorder on here, you can record uh, interviewing grandparents, interviewing someone who's been through an event, and getting their perspective and then bringing that into classroom. There's a really interesting project that we do at my school. It's called This I Believe. And for years, till this year, I've been looking for a multi-track audio editor. There's been that'll work on a Chromebook because it's got to work on the web. So I'm going to go back to our screen share and talk about Soundtrap. And so what Soundtrap allows you to do is do multi-track audio editing. For me, that works really well on the end as a theater and film teacher because I think our students deal with so much media on their end of the world. One, they are capable and know how to control that, and they want to replicate that in the projects that we give them. They want to have that control. Well, Soundtrap allows us to give them that multimedia type control. So over here, I have my finished products. And I'm going to go into the studio just so that you can see what that looks like. Because of the nature of Hangouts on Air, I'm going to use my phone to share the audio with you. And just wanted to kind of show you how that works. And what this will allow you to do is you can do multi-track editing. What's really cool, I don't know if you are big GarageBand users out there, but I can lay down different tracks, multi-layered tracks, and you can add them into your video. You can repeat them, into your timeline for the audio. And what I did before is, just like a cooking show, is I created, this is me saying a line of dialogue. To be or not to be, that is the question. And I recorded that into Soundtrap. But I wanted it to have more power and add that multi-dimensional effect, the multi-track effect, and wanted that line to have more oomph to it. So this is what I did with Soundtrap. To be or not to be, that is the question. Totally gives a different feeling and different mode and mood to the project you're working on. So within that, so you just click Add Track to record my microphone. You click Use Computer Mic, or you could, if you wanted to be more mobile, students could just click the Record Memo button on their phone, email that, or upload that to their Google Drive, and then you're able to get that information going. I'll just show you real quick what that looks like when you have multi-tracks, and then answer any questions that might pertain to the audio end of working with Soundtrap. And it's very similar to working with video features. You just have your timeline. And so what I have over here is the current timeline, and I've added a vocal fade, and I just did that by dragging that over here, and then that silences the audio or fades out the audio as it goes out. So I have my 2 tracks, but I could have 20 tracks and do a lot of different stuff. NPR is a great source. The This I Believe project, if you're looking for project ideas, you could do like a moth type radio type broadcast in your classroom. Just so many different things, and I think sometimes using audio helps because you just have the words to focus on. It helps focus the students. So that's my audio section. Danielle, do we have questions over that?
We actually have a few questions back on Picmonkey and
Sure.
Canva. Somebody wants to know in a smackdown between Canva and Picmonkey. This is Laura who's asking this. What you prefer and the pros and cons of each.
Um, I like Picmonkey to edit my individual photos and to put it all together. I love Canva for it.
That's great. Yeah, I'd agree
If
with that.
I like to work with them in tandem because I think they have their both have their strengths. But if I've forgotten to do a little photo editing, I love that Canva has some of those photo features in there. I can definitely brighten them up and give them that look. If I want the vampire look, I'm gonna have to go back to Picmonkey. But if I just need to give it an old picture type look, I can do that easily in Canva.
And Nick, do you have a preferred app? Is it Picmonkey you use or another app when you want to crop out the background of a photo?
I will. Picmonkey is pretty my go-to. And yeah, if I want to crop out something, I just boom. And the nice part about Picmonkey, and we were just talking about this before we went on air, is if I go to the crop tool, and those of you who are art teachers or deal with the arts, so if you see, and let me switch to my sharing screen. Let me go right back into that and share. So I'm here in Picmonkey. If you see here on my cropping tool, it's divided everything into thirds. And there's the rule of thirds in art. And your focus moment, things you want to focus on or highlight, you want to be sure that they hit on one of those thirds. So I'm going to crop this photo, and I put my eye level in a lot with at least video and photo editing. If you're doing this natural photo editing, your eyes are that top third. So I just click that apply, and it's kept that formatting in there for me. Um, and that's another reason that I love Picmonkey.
This is a great question from Pamela. Man, I can hear the Amen choir is going to sing behind her. She says, being very fun, besides being fun and creative, can you suggest educational applications for this? Sorry, Common Core teacher effectiveness rules, ARG.
I totally understand. So I would use this if you're very academically, and I totally get it, is let's say you're doing a science unit. I would use this for labeling. I would have them go out and do a photo walk of plants and then go back into the classroom and use the labeling tools to label the parts of a flower or to label, you could label the anything that you're breaking down or having them take piece by piece, you could definitely use it and label it in there. And then give them some more of that creativity so that they're involved in the process. Because sometimes our students are creative. They wow me every day. And sometimes we just need to give them the parameters to work within for that end result, but they will wow us if you just give them that opportunity, even if it is just these are parts of the plant. Because if it's taken the time to explore that creativity, think how much more they'll remember that and meet those standards set by the Common Core too. But it's just not an assignment. It's something that they've invested themselves in. Sorry,
This
I
is
had
and
it.
kind of off on that same realm. We've got creative juices clearly flowing out there. Kat Staton says that she's excited about Soundtrap. She said, I can use this with my students who created beats with codes, and now they can turn those into songs. What a cool,
Yeah,
fun idea.
totally
And
awesome.
make a science. Somebody else, William Jeffrey, has another great idea, kind of capitalizing on what you said. Make a science magazine detailing the procedures of a lab they've done. Loving it.
And then you can take it into the charts in Canva, so you have that visually appealing, but sticking with the facts and figures too.
Yeah, I think that's
So
terrific.
cool
Oh,
things.
we could clearly go into this. I don't want to eat up any more of your precious time, so I know you've got more to give us, so
Okay,
I'll mute
so
and let you go.
I'm gonna just take you on a quick walkthrough and really just point you in a direction because of the time we have allotted. And these things I've shown you, I encourage you to take the time to play with them. But I wanted to give you here's this, here's that, like we're talking a buffet. But know that in 5 minutes, I'm not going to explain all how to do it. I'm just going to highlight some really cool things you can do either with yourselves or your students to get working with these items. So I wanted to talk, and I'll go to screen share once more. Um, is there are two things that are built in there that you can do video editing on Chromebooks. One and the two best ones that I've found out there are WeVideo.com. Now there are some costs uh, with WeVideo, so and my best advice with that is be sure that don't have students render out till that's that final point. Do a lot of watching just within the app itself and going around with your students because you are limited to like 10 minutes of exporting out your final video during the during a month. And they just added this like in the past month. You can now do screen capturing with WeVideo. Um, so you have the timeline view over here, and you can control your audio, your video. It has other things built in. You can add graphics into your timeline so you can have a nice introduction to your video. And then here you have your preview window, and if I wanted to trim that opening, all I have to do is move the sliders to the left and right. And I think sometimes when we assign video projects, and it depends on students' level and that, but sometimes just what you need is something that will allow you to edit out the bad parts. Um, and also, I think students also want a blooper reel because they enjoy that so much. So I can take in a video right in here and put it right next to it. And so now I have this introduction and the view of Sydney Harbor Bridge, or a picture of the Sydney Harbor Bridge. I can add transitions right here. My advice as a film teacher, and it really depends, but your crossfade and your cross blur are the ones, or cross dissolve are the ones you should use. All the others you should avoid. But I know students can't help themselves, and that's okay. But if they are doing this for something that for a scholarship application or something really professional, or if they're entering a contest, they should take out all the stars and the flippy doos, um, and just stick with the dissolve or the fade or the cross blur. Just a little bit of film teacher advice. But we can add audio and video, all those type of things to it. You can have themes, but this is your timeline view. I can add a audio track underneath, so you could just upload pictures in there. So there's a variety of tools in WeVideo. Not unfortunately not enough time to cover it all. My other one I wanted to be sure to show you is the YouTube editor. You have a YouTube account, you now have an editor. And the really nice part about this is you can just quickly add that in there. And an even kind of cooler part is right here is, let's say you don't have video cameras in your classroom. You don't have access to, but you'd like them to start working with video. Well, if people have marked their YouTube videos Creative Commons and free to connect and share, then you can do a search of the Creative Commons videos. So you could just have them edit a video and they don't even have to go out and film, but they can then add their particular parts to that and add that in there. So they can do a little bit of text in between the type of things. So I could do frogs and find a frog video. And then I can add that to my timeline. And just like the other one, I can trim it down. I can make it shorter. Also under here, let's say I want to make my frog look like it's from outer space. You have all these video effects that are available to you. Or if I want to make an old-time movie, I can take it to sepia, black and white, cartoon, and the students will just have so much fun with it. Or if you're flipping your classroom and you have it recorded and you just need to do a quick little edit, use it in there, click create video. I will tell you it takes a little bit of time for YouTube to process, usually about an hour for 2 or 3 minutes worth of video, but after that time it lets you know, hey, it's ready. And those are some of those things that you can work with. And I'm sorry we don't have enough time to explore it all, but I did want to take a little bit of time for questions.
Okay. Mostly people are shouting out how excited they are and
That's
ideas
awesome.
here, and a lot of votes for how cool Canva is.
Yeah,
Um,
big fan.
and I would just say to everybody, it looks like you really want to check out the show notes so that you can see all of. There's so many more sources that that
Yeah,
Nick
and
has put up
also
there.
I put at the bottom of my show notes, because I teach a whole week camp uh, over the summer sometimes called I Create Camp, and I put links to that, and it's at the very bottom of the screen. I got creativity at the bottom of it. So if you want to create your own Lego character or make yourself look like uh, a hobbit, there's a whole variety of things, and just to check it out.
And I know that Nick would be happy to answer any questions you have after we go off the air here. You can get him at his EdTech for Teacher or EdTech for Theater Twitter handle there, and I know he'll take good care of you.
I want to thank you all again for taking time to watch us, and excited to see all the other great things going on today. Be sure to check us out on TheaterCast or share that with your theater or English teachers in your building. And thanks again. It was great.